So, Pocket the Monster Horizons. Pokemon Horizons. We're going through some change. I'm going through changes. Oh, in my mind. Pokemon Horizons. Looks like Pokemon Horizons decided to take a step that the original Pokemon anime would never think about. We've grown. We've evolved. Not in more ways than just one. Are you caught up to the current episode? Yeah. I mean, I know everything that's happening. The reviews are coming late, but they're coming. I know all that's happening. I hate when you be ignoring my comments with it. What comment did I ignore? We can go. I mean, Zach, we can. Don't worry. Don't. Let me do the button first, though. Don't worry, Zachary. We can go back. We'll read them. We'll scroll up. There's a lot. It's not just you, by the way. Let's see. This guy. The last comment you said was Glazing Gold and Silver. They're good games, so obviously I'm gonna give them praise. Acting like they not been doing. I said that they do that to other games. Yeah, I said that they do that stuff to other games. I already said that. Like, what? And that's the reason why Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl came out to fix G-Force problems.
What?
Okay. Anyway, so we answered those two things. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Pokemon Horizons. Looks like we made some changes. Looks like Pokemon Horizons is taking a step that is unheard of, and in any sense of the word. Now, I'm gonna be honest. Why? Yeah, I'm gonna be real. Why? It's not that I'm not excited for a time skip, but like, why? I don't know. For me, a time skip in any anime always has to have like a reason behind it. There's got to be like some to this day, I think One Piece is the only show that's really done a time skip and been like, okay, I can see why they did that. Luffy and the rest of his crew very much were like outnumbered. Like they were outmatched. They knew full well they needed to hit the nose on the grindstone for it. And Luffy tells the crew, look, we're going to wait about this long and then we'll all join back with each other. We'll join back with each other in about 2 years' time. Let's not group back up right now. Let's wait it. But it's in the story and it makes sense. Naruto, unfortunately, did this where they're like, I'm going to go train, and the time skip's like 2.5 years. But realistically, Jiraiya can train Naruto anywhere. Like, there's no real need for it. There was no real need for a time skip. The plot could still continue with Naruto in it, and like it wasn't really necessary. Like, I'm not sure why we got one. Because all it ended up being was, okay, Naruto winds up accomplishing everything by age 15 instead of age 12. He's still a kid, so who cares? And then the show Shippuden does another time skip within its time skip that makes Naruto like an adult. So what was the point of that time skip? At this point, you could have just made Naruto a kid the whole way through and then just had him go through a time skip. Is there a reason specifically? Is there something he just couldn't do at age 12 that he can do now at 15? Like, Shippuden. It's called Shippuden. Like, Naruto Shippuden. Or Shippuden. Anyway. We don't know the length yet. I say 18 months. So, a year? I hate when people say... If it's past 12, it's a year. Stop doing that shit. Anyway, at least 4 years tops. I don't think it's 4 years. They would change dramatically. And I'm gonna be honest with you, they're doing a lot of artistic change. Liko and Roy don't look that much older. The camera angle's pointed downwards and looking up. So we're looking at them from a downward up perspective. Liko doesn't look that much taller than she did earlier. If anything, she just did a design change. That's what this mostly looks like. It looks like they did a design change. Nothing really looks older. It looks like they just did a design change. Like, Roy doesn't look that much. I think Roy's a bit taller than Liko now, which wasn't the case before. So you can imply that there's some age going on there, and that makes sense because girls grow fast. Girls grow first, but boys usually grow taller. So you can argue that. But even then, it's like, okay, but why though? Like, I think my other weird part about it is Crocolore. Why is this thing still a Crocolore? Like, we just witnessed in Pokemon Horizons that Liko went from Sprigatito to Florgato to Masquerada and the epic climax that just happened, right? So why didn't the other two evolve? Like, and it makes it worse because if you use the math, that means Sprigatito evolved way quicker than all of them. And the other two just sort of took like an unnaturally longer time to evolve. Like, it just looks jarring. So I think they really should have just waited for Sprigatito to evolve until the time skip. They should have made all the Pokemon evolve at the time skip. It's very clear they want to make the Pokemon evolve. Like, Crocalore is going to evolve into Skeledirge, and Quaxwell is going to evolve into Quaquaval. It would have been better for marketing if we had just got the poster and all three of the Pokemon are in the final evolutions. That way we know they evolve. This feels like a sore thumb otherwise. Because now what it looks like is, if it takes place within a couple of, like, if it takes place within a year or two, that means Crocolore and Quaxwell have just been Crocolore and Quaxwell for an unnaturally long time. And Florgato just decided to evolve earlier. It's jarring. It's very jarring. And then Roy, design-wise, I'm okay with it. This is exactly what I kind of expected a time-skipped Roy would look like. Stupid-ass Kilowattrel's there. God, this thing's so... I hate Kilowattrel. It's so useless. And then we got Mega Lucario. So this one obviously is a stick-out change. And it's shiny, and look, a shiny Lucario looks ugly as sin. So I gotta sort of just accept that we gotta deal with it. I do not like shiny Lucario. It looks like ass. It looks like dirty mustard. Ugh. Anyway, the poster could point out an evolution would happen, just not when. Again, that's the problem though. Robzo, no matter how many ways you fixate it, it's just gonna come to that. The radio station only played the same 5 Pokemon. God forbid we use an underrated one. They're slightly taller. Starter favoritism. Before they age to test the waters to see how people react if Ash return. I don't want Ash to return at all. I don't give a shit about. People need to let Ash go. His time is over. Let that go. That's over. Just leave it alone. Just he had his time. Deal with it. We all know how people hate off-screen progress. Off-screen evolutions would turn pretty sour on fan base. The thing, Horizons already had 2 time skips, but they were implied, not stated. I guess. Liko needs that MC Deus Ex Machina, I guess. It feels like Roy was the only one of the trio that kept traveling, so focus will be more on him going forward, I guess. So they're giving him a Mega Pokemon in time for Legend ZA. Doesn't feel like a natural occurrence. I wouldn't be surprised if Liko has a shiny Ash. What?
What?
That was... Anyway. And we see we got a new character, which has a Mega Sableye. Let's go ahead and tackle... It's a lot at once. Let's tackle the elephants in the room. The Mega Evolution thing is very much so... They can show off Mega Evolution. It's marketing material. It's very jarringly marketing material. I hate when marketing material doesn't have subtlety behind it, but it's very jarringly marketing material. But I don't know enough about the character to really go off of. I don't like his design, I'm gonna be honest there. I really don't like it. And honestly, Liko, Roy, and Dot is enough. I really don't feel like this fourth unneeded character was necessary. I think, again, he's mostly to just show off that Mega Evolution exists. I don't care. If we were to put it down lightly, I don't care. It's very clear that Liko, all three of them are gonna get mega rings, so that's good. Lucario, I'm sick of Lucario. I kind of wish Roy had got a different Pokemon. Yeah, we literally had Mega Lucario in the last series, which was Journeys. What? They could have picked any other Mega Evolution Pokemon, and they chose Lucario. And I'm just like, what? Why? Whatever. I don't like the shiny. I don't like Mega Lucario as a Pokemon. Even in video games, Mega Lucario isn't that great. It's also a big letdown because they give you Mega Lucario before you even get your third gym badge. So it was already teased earlier that Mega Lucario was the first Mega Evolution. Like I'm Mega Lucario to death. So Roy getting one is just sort of like, okay. Like, sure, whatever you want. I don't give a fuck. Like, it's just there. It's drawing because Horizons so far hasn't been battle centric. Why do they suddenly need Megas now? I think Megas is fine. They've been aiming to get stronger. They learned terrestrialization so they can get stronger. So it only makes sense that Mega Evolution would be another big step for them. So that's fine. I don't see a problem in that. Lucario is the poster boy for Mega Evolution. I would have given Roy a Salamence. He already has Kilowattrel. I don't think that's necessary. Out of all the Megas, I wouldn't have mind giving him Maynetrix. But apparently Roy owns Captain Pikachu now because we don't know what's happened to Freed. He's either lost or dead right now. So, Captain, I can understand why Captain Pikachu worked with Roy. I get that. I don't care for it. Again, a lot of these things, for Roy specifically, I don't care for. Roy stuff just feels like generic main character placement stuff. He owns a Pikachu now. Like, the thing I was focused on was his Crocalor evolving, and they didn't do it. It's almost like they gave him everything except the things they needed to give him. They didn't focus on Kilowattrel at all, for real. It's just there. It's the electric Pidgeotto of this goddamn series. They gave him a Mega Lucario, which nobody asked for. They gave him Captain Pikachu, which, again, nobody asked for. They didn't even focus on evolving Crocalor. So it's like, you focused on everything except what was necessary. Dot didn't get a change at all. Dot still has Tinkatuff and Quaxwell. All she got was a slight character design change. Like, what? Liko got a design change that realistically made me doubt this was even a time skip. Part of me had to go, this was a time skip? They made her hair different and then like adjusted around her jacket. She traded in some shoes and like she's wearing a black under outfit now. Like, okay. Congratulations, you did the bare minimum. Like, I don't know, it feels very... She didn't get any new Pokemon. Terapagos is stuck in its Pokeball. So, okay, so Liko's hair's longer, but it's tied, so who gives a shit? Like, it's just underwhelming. That's the problem. Like, all three of them realistically are underwhelming time skips. Their design changes, that's nice, but it's pretty much the equivalent of when Serena cut her hair. Like, it's different. It's definitely different. It doesn't have the same contextual motivation behind it like when Serena cut her hair. But it is a different design change. It's we grew slightly and changed clothes a little bit. Like, I would need to, you know what it is? I would need to watch this series to see what's going on with it. Because I know for a fact, first of all, the voice actors aren't gonna like make their voices slightly deeper to match the age up. I know that. I know that for a fact. So they'll still sound the same. They still have the same damn Pokemon after like a year or however long this is. The newcomer I don't give a shit about, so he's just there. It's just like, okay, it's nice. I'll say that. It's a nice change of pace. I'm glad Pokemon decided to change its pace. The original Pokemon wouldn't do this. The original Pokemon never has done this. They never thought about it. So at first it seems nice because it's different. But then you start to peel the layers and you start going, oh, yeah, this is Pokemon. I forgot. Pokemon does that thing where when they try something new, they act like they're the first ones to ever do the new thing. And their audience goes, ooh, new thing. And then they do the bare minimum and it's like, oh, yeah. The writers can't live without the industry plant Pokemon. I actually would have preferred if they had kept the same fit, grew taller, then changed the design. I mean, the new outfit's fine. I'm fine with the new outfits. And I'm fine with the fact that they get taller and there's a... Like, the time skip in and of itself, the idea is there. Pokemon didn't really leave me a reason for them to need a time skip. I'm guessing maybe next Friday we'll understand in full context why they need a time skip. But even then, like, we can see that the brave Asagi is in the background. Like, so, time skips leave questions, I think, is the problem. If there's no progress with any of the trainers or the Pokemon, then it leaves you wondering what were they doing for an entire year or 2 years or whatever. If there's a bunch of new stuff, then the problem is, okay, they got all these new things off screen. Arc 5 will debut with a 1-hour special, 2 episodes on April 11th. Good. Hopefully that'll shed some light on this. But then I'm looking at this and I'm like, bro, the only difference that you got if you were to look at this screen and take out the design changes, there are 3 differences in total. The Mega Lucario, the dude in his Sableye, and Terapagos won't come out of its Pokeball. That's it. Those are the only major differences that Pokemon Horizons got going on if you take out the fact that the characters have gotten older. That's it. Those are the differences. Those are the exact differences that take place in Pokemon Horizons. And you gotta ask yourself, well, this is nice and all, but why? And I'm not against the idea. I love that Pokemon Horizons actually takes some steps that the original Pokemon just won't do. Like, we know who Lico's family is. Hell, not only do we know who Lico's family is, we know Lico's entire origin, her ancestry. We know her great-great-grandmother and great-great-grandfather. We know her mother, we know her grandmother, we know her great-grandmother. It's crazy. We know her great-grandmother, her great-great-grandmother, we know her great-great-grandfather, we know her father, we know her mother. This is more about Lico than I thought we would ever know with Ash. With Ash, shit, we barely know his mother. We know his mother, and that's it. So it's good to see that Pokemon has decided to step its foot into the, like, expansion door when it comes to making a multi-dimensional character with multi-dimensional shit. Whereas Pokemon, the original, was very much married and stuck to this idea of, it's Ash, no need to look into it, he's a Pokemon trainer, he's a good kid, he has a Pikachu, just watch the damn show so we can buy the damn video games, so that you can buy the damn cards, so that you can give us the damn money. That's pretty much it. Pokemon Horizons decides, okay, we'll actually give depth to these characters and actually give them an origin story. That's needed. That's a very necessary thing to have. I'll give it a shot, but I have concerns. So much freedom to break away from traditional anti-poke and its path. The Pokemon anime series was made to sell toys. Whereas here, Horizons is still doing that job. It's still selling toys, but it's daring to ask the questions, what if? And again, maybe I'll warm up to this new character with the Sableye, but I don't really have much to say on him because I don't know anything about him. I don't even think we got a name for this guy, do we? it's just some guy with a Sableye. And I'm like, Sableye wasn't really one of my favorite Pokemon anyway. Sableye is just one of those Pokemon that exist. I guarantee you, since Terapagos is a gym, Terapagos is a Pokemon that's a gym. So I guarantee his name is Ult. Okay. Thanks. Neat. Anyway, since Sableye likes to eat gyms, Terapagos looks like a gym, so one after another, boom. There's no reason for me to care right now. I really think they should have saved this poster for later. I think they should have saved this poster until we got to the end of the original Horizon series. Then open it up with this. I feel like it would have been a much better surprise. Here, it just raises more questions than answers. It's random. And what's worst of all, it's underwhelming and random. Like I said, I like the idea. Pokemon's never done a time skip a day in its life. I mean, I count X and Y as a time skip. But, point is, Pokemon's never really done a time skip before. So this is cool to see, and it definitely piques an interest of how the characters would grow. The sad part is, no matter how many ways you look at it, either it's underwhelming or overwhelming, but it's still something that just, it's not hitting the mark for me as of right now because I don't have enough answers to really do it. It's also one of the reasons I've had to pick a different topic in order to talk about alongside this. Because if I had just picked this, I would have been talking and rambling for like 2 hours. And I know full well this poster alone doesn't give me 2 hours worth of content. It just doesn't. Like, we still get Hatchrim. Like, it would have been cool. The poster could have shown more stuff. And then, like, the episodes themselves could be the progress to get that stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. The anticipation still would have been there. But here, we still get that dumbass Kilowattrel that hasn't done anything. With no other extra Pokemon except Pikachu now belongs to Roy. Or at least Captain Pikachu is working alongside Roy. I don't really know what the deal is here with that. Mega Lucario, which... again, that means Roy caught some random Lucario. Which are going to explain how he got it, obviously. Hatchrim is still a Hatchrim. It hasn't even evolved into Hatterene. Tinka... They didn't even bother to put Tinkatuff. They didn't even bother to put... is it Tinka... Tinkatuff? No, I'm sorry. Tinkatank is the final evolution. They didn't even bother to put Tinkatuff on the damn poster. It's not even on the poster. Like, they didn't even bother putting Tinkatuff on the poster. What the shit? It's mainly an issue because the kids should have at least had 4 mons pre-time skip. Tinkaton, thank you. I don't know why I said Tinkatank. Tinkaton's on the phone. Why is it on the phone? Why isn't it in, like, the post? It's a Pokemon like everything else. Tinkatuff's on the phone. That means it doesn't even get the luxury of being on the poster. Like, full screen. That's lame. Like, I want to be excited for it, but it also means that Pokemon... I think the problem is that Pokemon Horizons does its best when it just does the actions and doesn't try to do this, like, hype up stuff with the poster. Like I said, I will roll back on this and say, I am glad that the heroes are actually getting, like, development. Like to see that the characters have grown and changed in ways. But Pokemon Horizons really needs context. Otherwise, this just comes off as random. Like this, Ult is his name. Ult, he just comes off as random. Do we need him? I liked Liko. Look, the show started off mostly with just Liko and Roy doing the main thing. And Dot became something that was added later. Amateo was the one that I thought would join the group as like the 4th member if he had to be a 4th member. Here we get some random green-haired bastard with a very weird design and a fang that I don't even care for or like. I don't care about him. Arc 3 is supposed to have Mabosive, but Arven was only in the final episode without any dialogue. Yeah, but like, yeah, that just... I don't know. It needs... I think realistically, and it's too soon for me to really judge all of this. I could literally be wrong, like right when the series starts. I just feel like there's definitely needs to be more context added to this before I make like an overall judgment. Otherwise, this just comes off as like, it comes off as I'm supposed to just be hyped that we've got a time skip. Like I'm supposed to, like realistically, they want me to just go, and just move on. But here I'm asked to do a critical analysis about this without much real meat behind it. And y'all know me, I'm not really one of the bandwagon hypers where I stop and say something's the best thing ever just because I saw it once in a one-off poster. That's not how Tyrone TG3 roll on this channel. That's that shit that everybody else ends up doing, and I'm not gonna point out names, but that's that shit that certain groups do. Because realistically, Pokemon goes in a never-ending pattern of you do the bare minimum, show it to me, and then I make all these unnecessary theories and hypes and reactions and, oh my god, Pokemon's changing forever, oh my god, this is the best thing! And then it winds up being underwhelming, and then it ages like spoiled milk afterwards. I approach things in a more analytical view that allows me to dissect the thing that really gets the brain chewing and thinking about it. That's how I've been doing this shit for years. But it's one of the reasons why, like, my stuff has lasted the test of time. Because when I say these things, whether you like them or dislike them, it gives you a chance to think. It gives you a chance to exercise your brain. Do you have any idea how long people wanted to have a Sableye on Pokemon Hero Group? They'll take what they can get. The big issue won't be how Arc 5 begins, but how Arc 4 will end. I don't mind Horizons having a time skip, but it's typical fan service bullshit. You know what, Chef? That's what it is. That's what I feel like it is right now. Without context, that's what this feels like. And Pokemon Horizons is really good at its story pacing. I definitely will say that it's good at its story pacing. I think the problem here is this poster. I hate to say it and get so meta about it. I like the time skip idea. I don't like how they gave it to us. I don't like the presentation. I don't like that they just slapped this poster in and its placement. I really think they should have waited until Horizons ended Arc 4 before they decided to jump into Arc 5 with this whole poster giveaway. Then it would have gotten me a little bit more excited to see it. Because right now, it's just raising more questions than answers. Answers that probably could be solidified when this arc ends. So now it also just makes it me come off as some ranty asshole. When I'm not trying to be. I'm literally just being critical of what was given in front of me. That's no crime. Story pacing is good. The thing is 10 out of 10 stories and Pokemon are 4 out of 10 compared to other anime. And I'll even give it its props. All the way up to this point, from what I've been watching, or at least how they've been handling this half of Horizons, before this time skip stuff, obviously, I've been liking it. Like I say earlier in the review, you guys will see later, because I'm posting the reviews later. I like how even a episode that comes off as like a one-time adventure episode for Pokemon Horizons still has a link and chain thread that leads to the next big event. So it doesn't come off as just random. It comes off as something that has a small attachment that connects to the other thing. So kudos to Pokemon Horizons for finding a way to make each adventure, no matter how big or small, have some form of like relative nuance to it that leads to the bigger picture. Good for them there. But it's that reason why I feel like this poster sticks out more like a sore thumb than a level of hype and advancement. There's too many leaks happening, so I guess they wanted to bring it out to get it out the way. That's true, but then you run the risk of unfortunately uncovering this and not having the decency to really give us any more to chew off of. I've said this before, I really wish, before this time skip happened, I really wish Pokemon Horizons got a full feature-length movie first. That would have been so damn cool. The movie doesn't have to be canon. The movie can just be canon in the sense of like it connects to the plot. The movie should have been like a fun little like adventure to like really give us something to chew on and then just move on. And then once we hit the next big thing, it's a time skip. If you don't curse situation. People are hungry for the new thing. Like, to me, for a time skip to work in Pokemon Horizons specifically, I would really need context. Now, for example, the original Pokemon, let's say the original Pokemon had a time skip. The time skip placement for those was very obvious. It would be at the end of one series and at the start of another. A time skip for Ash, more specifically, like I said, is usually the transition from Best Wishes to X and Y. Just take out the plane, for example, and we move on. If you took out Ash going on the plane and just had him move on and just move Alexa's placement a little bit, then you got yourself a good time skip placement. Mostly because one, Ash looks older in that series, and two, the only Pokemon he has in that series is Pikachu. It's completely removed from everything else. Sun and Moon to journeys due to Lake Kukui. But yeah, overall, Pokemon can do a time skip by literally just moving on to the next series. It'd be an easy fix. Here, Horizons, in order to do a time skip, you realistically have to make sure that the placement of the time skip is absolutely necessary and works its way to fit for the lore of what's going on. And again, it's way too early for me to say any of this because we need the episodes to give us the closure we need in order to make this relevant. Otherwise, like I said, it just comes off as me ranting. As far as my thoughts on everything, like I said, I like the fact that Roy has a Mega Evolved Pokemon. I don't like the Mega Evolved Pokemon he has. Make it shiny, sure, whatever. But did it have to be Lucario? Could it have been like literally anything else? You could have given us Mega... A lot of people are saying Mega Slowbro, which is funny. A lot of people are saying Mega Slowbro, which to me is funny. Because Mega Slowbro is literally just like a cone. I wouldn't have mind if he had got like, I don't know. You could have given him a Mega Scizor. Scizor doesn't get a lot of love. You could have given him, I don't even care if you give him a Mega... I'm trying to think of what other Megas exist right now. I'm on the spot. A lot of people, nah, bro, that's just me. Well, I've been hearing Mega Slowbro a lot. Lucario's just the face of Megas. You could have given him a Mega Tyranitar. That would have been kind of cool. You could have given him Mega Aggron. I wouldn't have mind. But give him the Mega Ring and then give him Lyron first. Or Aeron. Lyron would have been better. I would have liked Lyron. Because then you could evolve it into Aggron, then do the Mega Evolution thing. That would have been fine. Just put in some Mega Evolved Pokemon that we haven't seen in a while. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I'd give him Venusaur. That would have been cool. I would have loved if we saw Roy with a Venusaur. That would have been nice. Because he already has Crocalor anyway. But Lucario is poo-poo lore. I also don't like the Lucario they gave him. Like, giving him a shiny Pokemon is cool and all, but... Lucario looks like dirty mustard. I hate this Lucario's colors. They could have given us a Gengar. Well, no, I don't think Roy would have gotten a Gengar. Nah. But yeah, they could have given us any other Megas. They literally could have given us other Mega Pokemon. I wouldn't mind even though it's 2 fire Pokemon, I wouldn't mind him getting a Blaziken. Or they could have given us Mega Swampert. That would have been... Or Mega Sceptile. I think Mega Sceptile would have been great for Roy, actually. That would have been fine. I would have liked Mega Sceptile. Yeah. Yeah. Mega Sceptile. Shiny and Mega is too much. Yeah, that's another thing, too. The fact that it's also a Mega and it's shiny. Mega Metagross and Mega Sharpedo. Mega Metagross for Orla and Mega... I don't think all of them need Mega Pokemon. That's a bit much. That's a bit much. Nah, that'd be a type overlapping with Roy having a Skeledirge. I don't mind it, though, for that specific one. Give him Mega Blastoise. I think that would have been cool. That would have been fine. I would have been fine with that, too. In fact, I would have each of them have a starter Pokemon correlating with the other thing. Like, for example, Lico's starter Pokemon is weak against Crackalore, so give Lico a fire starter to combat the grass starter that Roy would get. And then Dot would have the... oh shit, Dot would be stuck with 2 water Pokemon if that were the case. You could give Dot something completely different. That would have been fine, too. Or, yeah, give Dot, like, Mega Blaziken for Dot would be fine. Yeah, I think that would have worked out. But, yeah, it's just... Or give it Mega Ampharos. I would have been fine with Mega Ampharos. But, yeah, it's that little thing. Liko with Tepig. That would have been fine, too. Dot with Chikorita and Roy with Totodile. That makes sense, too. Then he would... No, because then he would have... That would be Alligator overlap. I don't think he needs 2 Alligator Pokemon. I mean, like I said, I don't mind it. Hell, I don't even think all 3 of them need to have Mega Evolved Pokemon. Since we have 4 people and 2 of them are using Megas. I think Dot doesn't necessarily need a Mega Evolved Pokemon. I think Dot can actually just go using Terrestrialization a bit more. If they give her one, that's fine. But I wouldn't mind with Dot still using Terrestrialization. I think that would work out a lot better for her. But giving her a Mega wouldn't hurt either. Or switch it and make it so Liko couldn't use Terrestrialization since she's got Terapagos anyway. My point is, like, even now, this is speculation on things that they could do. Ult will give for Alligator since he's Roy's rival. I completely keep forgetting to even talk about Ult. And that's not even for me doing that on purpose. I just don't know enough about him to really... Like, why is he in the Brave Asagi? Like, why is he with the Rising Volt Tacklers? Why is he here? None of these things will be answered until we actually run into the series and see his character debut. I don't like his design right now. I think his hair looks too... Yes, I know Pokemon characters can have weird hair. His hair looks more or less... It looks a little like it's trying too hard. It's like he's trying too hard to be that generic Saturday morning anime character. It's trying way too hard. It's kind of like my gripe that I have with with Yu-Gi-Oh! Where Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters' hair is trying too hard to be like Yugi's. The fun part about I had with Yugi's hairstyle is that Yugi's hairstyle was very unique to the point where even the characters pointed out like how weird it was. It was purple and black with yellow highlights. It was very much something that stuck out and was like a what the fuck, but nobody else really had it. Kaiba's hair was just a normal brown. Joey's hair kind of was reaching that level, but it was still blonde, a blonde that we can understand. Taya's hair was a brown short, and Tristan's hair was like a combed up brown. It means that like Yugi sticks out in this group, but it's still like leveled in a modern era where everything could be associated with a level of realism, but have Yu-Gi-Oh! Futuristic stuff and ancient Egyptian stuff all in it. It was a nice, like, measure. But then later on, the other Yu-Gi-Oh! Series try way too hard to have each character be unique hair. So now all these characters have crazy hair for no other reason than, oh, well, Yugi did it. He looks like Daichi from Beyblade. Yeah, like, Beyblade does that too. Where Beyblade started off with characters having more or less, like, some of them had spiky, crazy hair, but it was still rooted in a level of reasonability. But then by the time we get to the other Beyblade series, everybody has brightly colored hair. Everybody has weirdly, brightly spiky hair. It almost looked like plastic. Like everybody's hair was a toy now instead of, like, natural. And that's what we're getting here. And Daichi's hairstyle kind of feels like that. Liko's design, I think we need a different look at Liko's design to really, like, absorb what's going on here. Otherwise, like, it just more or less comes off like, I don't know. I can't really pinpoint it, but it comes off like, while I like it, I think my biggest issue with Liko's design is that it looks too similar to her previous design. Like, it's almost like the show was afraid to change Liko. They made some of her understuff dark instead of light. For example, the undershirt she wore before was white. Now it's changed to black. So good on him for that. But unfortunately, Liko older design, again, not much going for the change. And Liko, okay, so they opted, it looks like they opted to make the darks the lights. Liko's undershirt was shorter and was white. Whereas the newer one, the undershirt is longer and black. Same with her socks. Her socks were white back then. Now they're black. And that's pretty much where the changes almost end. She has blue shorts in the original design, and then in the time skip, she has white shorts. So they changed the shorts, they made her legs longer and sleeker, and then they made an undercut within the jacket. The hoodie that she wore used to be a whole jacket with sleeves of its own. Now she's opted for like this light blue sleeveless jacket where her sleeves from her undershirt just go through. Liko's hair got longer, the tuft of hair that's still up top, and she's changed her hairpin. Gone is the Ash Ketchum like check mark that was on the Pokemon League Expo logo, and now has been replaced with like a hair clip that more or less looks like Ash's, I can't remember what you really call it. The Pokemon Movie 2000 logo that was on the top of his head instead. So that hair clips has taken over. Liko's old design was her rocking the book bag on the front. It looks like here she kept the same book bag with a slightly different zipper, but moved it to the back. And honestly, the placement of the book bag feels uncomfortable. It feels like the lining of it will constantly be messing with her the whole way through. Whereas in the beginning, the book bag was tucked slightly in front of her, which means it was safely under the jacket. This just looks like, while fashion-wise it's good, like viability-wise, it looks like a disaster. Alright. Sorry, I did not see the workout thing. Oh, God. But yeah, like, functionally, it's a disaster. The band on the book bag just looks like it'll get under her arm all the time. Like, it's just gonna constantly be there. And then she put it over herself, which means it's gotta be that the other half of that book bag has gotta be conflicting with her shoulder. Like, functionally, it's a disaster. Unless that thing is unless the strip is really thin so it doesn't irritate under her arm. But it's a nice design, but at the same time, it feels like the bare minimum. All they really did was like replace the whites with the blacks, and then they replaced her dark shorts with white shorts. So they basically inverted her lighter colors, and then opted for a shorter jacket with less sleeves. The hood's still present though. And then we take a look at Dot's design. I'm gonna talk about Roy again later, even though Roy, So we look at Dot's design, and Dot's design is a bit harder to really like point out because Dot is further away. They chose for some reason to make Dot so far away, and it annoys me. But it looks like Dot's going for a more, looks like she's still rocking the hoodie, the same one. Only this time there's a couple of changes to it. The hoodie feels like it's closed up a bit more, which is ironic. You would think that wouldn't be the case. Now she's rocking headphones on the side with the new hair design. Gone is the cherubi hairstyle that she had before, and it looks like it's a bit more maintained. It looks like it's a bit more combed down. I liked the cherubi hairstyle just because it was fun that it looked like a Pokemon. Now it's okay. I do like the headphones on the neck. Other designs include the pants look like they're a bit lighter green now as opposed to the darker green that she was wearing. And the shoes look a bit more modern now instead of the Snorlax shoes she was rocking before. Which, okay. She has those Eno sleeves. Which, to be fair, the jacket she was wearing already did that. They just put overemphasis on the sleeves at this point. Not much. Honestly, the weakest design here. Then we move to Roy, who's gotten through a lot of change versus his prior outfit. Roy used to have the red shirt with the black sleeveless hoodie and the white sleeves on his red shirt. He was rocking the hat and the tuft of hair. So it was a very distinct design with sandals. Gone are the sandals, now replaced with shoes that seem a lot more optimal for traveling. Roy replaced his black shorts with he had the black drawstring shorts, or no, he had brown drawstring shorts that have now been replaced with like these red shorts. They look very similar to the pants that he was wearing when he was in Naranja Academy, only they're shorts now instead of pants. Looks like he's rocking Freed's jacket too, or to the very least, he's rocking a jacket that has the same color scheme as Freed's. Gone is the hat. No longer does he sport the hat anymore, and he just lets his hair out, unless he has the hat and we just don't know. Now he also has a white t-shirt, instead of the red iconic shirt that had Roy's R on top of the logo. Again, sharing a lot of similarities to Freed. The book bag placement even shares similarity to Freed's as well, rocking the brown and the yellow this time around. I wonder if Nito Thing will now do a seminar instead of Freed. Oh, yeah. And I also wonder would Nito Thing evolve? Like, will Dot make Nito Thing into Nito Thing Queen or something? Or Nito Queen Thing? I don't know. It would have to evolve. I would imagine that. Because then Dot's bigger than the costume itself if it's a time skip. Or not even bigger than the costume, but Dot would be noticeably, like, taller. So the costume would be more, like, uncomfortable. Whatever. That's stuff to look into the future. Overall, they're subtle designs, I will say that. They're very much within their character. They're not dramatic changes, which is good. When any anime series does a time skip, they do their best in order to make sure the character is still grounded in a level of reality that still has us recognize that that's the character, but they still try to give it a flair of change up. Like, for example, Naruto's time skip had Naruto rocking the orange and blue a lot more, whereas when he got older, he converted more to orange and black as his colors. The clothes became a bit more sleeker and less rolled back, and Naruto's outfit became a bit more adjusted to what he would be, considering that he grew up. His headband is no longer a short headband that just goes around his head. Now it's a headband that has a much longer tie-in, and they've replaced the blue with the black completely. Here, it looks like Pokemon Horizons is opting for more of a sleeker, traveling look for the heroes, rather than just clothes that they had at RIP. Liko jeans from before were just jeans. Not jeans, were just like shorts that were comfy. Liko was opting for comfort and going for a more Oshawott approach. Whereas here, she's moved her book bag to the back, more than likely symbolizing the fact that she doesn't need to hold it as protection anymore, but instead a part of her traveling, and it comes natural. The jacket is a lot shorter now, showing that it's more easier for movement. She can flow a bit more because she can maneuver herself because the jacket is sleeveless and it's not as drapey as it used to be. The colors that she had before have changed, simplifying the more mature route that she's going, and the hair's been tied back so that it doesn't get in her way. Dot's look looks a lot more like Ayano's, but at the same time she silked the hair down so that she can see a bit easier, and the headphones are mostly just preference. Roy's definitely shows that he's a bit more on the adventure side, whereas in the beginning Roy just had some clothes that he packed more or less from his house. A comfortable hoodie, a comfortable level of shorts, a comfortable shirt. Something that you could easily find at any point. Now opting for more Freed's outfit while still maintaining a sleekness to it so it doesn't look like the clothes are just overbearing. Back then, Roy's clothes were bigger than him. Here, he's clearly shaped out and built into his clothes. They're all going for a more sleeker look in order to make them taller. This is a trick that drawers and animators also do in order to give off that illusion that the characters are indeed grown at this point. They did it with Goku, where Goku is wearing more or less the same clothes that he's wearing. He's just less chubbier now, and he's less stumped. Whereas in the new design he has, it definitely opts to make his head smaller, as well as his outfit become a bit more sleek, so that it can match the design of his gi. Something that he would naturally wear under the circumstance. And in Pokemon XY, they made Ash look taller just due to the fact that they used darker colors and made him sleeker. Gone are the days of the bright blues, and in are the more navy blues, as well as the darks, the reds, the blacks, and grays. Opting to make Liko shorts white instead of dark shorts that she wore before is definitely a choice, but in order to make shorts come off as well shorter, they opted to make the shorts white and then make them go up a bit. You definitely see that you can see more of Liko's legs, and thus simplifying that Liko is taller. So good on them for that. These designs are definitely unique, I'll give them that. Especially considering the fact that even when Pokemon Horizons was starting off, people were already making what they believe were fan designs of what Liko and Roy would look like if they were much older. So it's good to see that Pokemon Horizons made a design for both of these characters that diverted from what fans would think they would look like, while at the same time it still looks very rooted into what they already look like. And of course, this is just the Adventures manga, Diamond and Pearl, 2 weeks. Sheena and Dexio was in X and Y, and Sun and Moon was 6 months ago in the manga. But overall there, we are reaching the 2-hour mark, so we're going to go ahead and end it at this point. Again, I really wish I had a lot more to say about this, because it's definitely a unique stance on Pokemon Horizons, or just Pokemon in general. Having a skip, having a time skip in Pokemon is something that's completely unheard of. So I guess before I head out, how does this relate to the anti-poke community and the plight of Pokemon as a whole when it comes to Pokemon as an anime? What is this view for us as far as things go? Well, this is definitely a publicity stunt. Let's not pretend it's not. It's definitely a stunt in order to get people to watch the show more. Doing something new so that it can catch the attention of an audience. Something that Pokemon's never really done before back then, because Pokemon was always stuck in a very cyclized pattern of how they introduced themselves as a show. It was easy to just sort of have a couple of new characters travel with Ash, go through a whole journey, and then 3 years later, rinse, wash, and repeat. It's definitely something that was known for it. And Pokemon knows that as it advances, it can't keep pulling the same stunts anymore. It has to adapt and change in some ways in order to get heads to turn so that it can get people to look at it. People are definitely a lot more interested in this now just because it's doing something that the original Pokemon series that had Ash in it refused to do, which is grow up. I don't know if this is absolutely better or worse. What's better is up to suggestions, and it's subjective. But it does definitely show that Pokemon is trying new ideas that realistically aren't new ideas. They're ideas that other animes have done. Pokemon just decided to finally hop on that wagon after almost 20 plus years. I'm not against a time skip. And again, it's definitely a unique stance on it. And this is one of the things that Pokemon Horizons definitely shows that it should to take more steps in than the original Pokemon. The original Pokemon was a very safe space where it did safe space moves, but those safe spaces and those safe moves got old pretty fast. We don't want Ash to experience these traumatically new things that would change the course of his character, and we need to make him generically safe for everything. So we're going to keep Ash as Ash Ketchum. No changes, still make him 10, still make him a kid that's very hungry all the time, still make him a kid that loves Pokemon battles, still make him a kid that loves Pokemon. These are all very safe choices so that it doesn't alienate our audience. Even now, I can already tell some people probably are for or against these new designs, which can make them very subjective as to how they're received as characters. That goes with any major decision that an anime decides to do. When an anime decides to take any type of risk, it's going to be received with a mixed bag. Even if it's mostly positive, mostly negative, or straight neutral. There's always going to be a level of controversy that flies beyond that when they decide to do these very new and very big steps. A time skip is something that a lot of people really take with a grain of salt if it doesn't groove with what they exactly had in mind for the future of a series. But Pokemon knew that it couldn't stay stagnant either. Let's say if Liko, Dot, and Roy were cursed to be 10 years old the entire course of this series too, just like Ash Ketchum, and the series kept going. Would anybody really stick around in order to watch their adventures afterwards, especially considering the fact that even though the stakes have gotten higher, the Pokemon and the people have remained more or less the same. Even evolving these Pokemon in general was a step that they wound up taking. We knew that Sprigatito, Quaxley, and Fuecoco couldn't stay as starter Pokemon forever like Pikachu could, because if they did that, they know full well they would have risked alienating their audience. Why doesn't Sprigatito evolve? It's been hundreds of episodes. Why isn't Quaxley evolved? Why isn't Fuecoco evolved? They can't follow the same pattern that Ash's Pikachu followed, because even in universe, they thought of a quick reason to make Pikachu stay marketable. And here we already get our marketable answer for that. Captain Pikachu. But Captain Pikachu isn't a main character's Pokemon. Well, at least until now, because of TimpeSkip. It's not obligated to evolve at all. Captain Pikachu is more or less just a face. The real shine goes on Liko, Roy, and Dot. And I guess this new character, Ult, if you care enough. So the characters obviously have to watch how Gen 10 Pikachu will be female just because. But the real challenge here was, how do we make Pokemon just interesting enough for people to still watch without having to do much in order to shake up the formula? But Pokemon knew it would have to do this eventually, changing its main characters, making the main characters go through a time skip. All of these things were absolutely necessary in order for Pokemon to have some form of advancement. Not doing so would obviously put them at risk. Pokemon Horizons was already receiving less viewership just simply because it wasn't Ash. They had to anchor themselves to the old while still finding a way to make it new. Ash going through a time skip definitely would have changed some heads, but Pokemon wasn't in the groove of doing such things because they didn't really want to put in the effort of doing that. It takes more work in order to imply that Ash grew up, because Pokemon was riding off of almost 30 years of history, so they would have to take all of that history into account. What would happen around Ash in addition to the characters? Would they age up too? That's a lot of characters that would have to age up in order to take into account one character. Ash not aging was a point of no return for Pokemon, whereas Pokemon Horizons has the freedom in order to do these things. Now, a lot of the characters in Pokemon Horizons are older than Liko, Roy, and Dot, which works in their favor, which means a time skip doesn't crazily affect them, but it does affect the main characters in and of themselves. The side characters that we meet don't have to be affected by this. Obviously, they may go the lazy route and make characters like Penny, Nimona, and the others not age, despite the fact that they're children too. But it doesn't really matter because Liko, Roy, and Dot are the focus. Whereas in Pokemon, there were far more main characters with Ash Ketchum, Brock, Misty, and several other traveling companions that they would need to do the same thing, or they would have to very much make sure that each of those characters never appear on screen as to avoid trying to make new designs for them. They've done new designs for the characters before, but it was more or less staying within the very safe route of what we knew about them. These characters look like this, so they have to have this, with the addition of maybe an outfit or two to adjust to what game they're in at the point. But Pokemon Horizons doing this time skip is a huge step in an otherwise stagnated direction that Pokemon as an anime is known for going through. But was that right is something that we have to figure out as time passes. Will this stand the test of time? Visually, it definitely shows a growth. We can see that Liko, even from this design perspective, knowing nothing about her, but just seeing her and her Meowscarada, and then rewinding all the way back to the very beginning of Pokemon Horizons, where Liko was just a little Liko with a tiny Sprigatito on her team, we can definitely see how she's advanced over the years. We can definitely show that Liko has progressed as a trainer. Sometimes shows can show progression without literally showing them age up at all, but the various small details can wind up helping them out. One show that does a really good job of this, at least, was My Hero Academia, where if you look at Deku at the very start, he's very pale, he's very small, and his outfit is very not advanced. Once we fast forward towards My Hero Academia now, he's gone through several major changes in his outfit, and his overall body is buffed up a lot too to show his growth. His facial expressions have even changed too, to show off that he's more confident or that he's more serious about being a hero, whereas back then he was a meek little child. To be honest, ratings and views for Pokemon in Japan have been going down ever since Black and White Season 2. It hasn't dropped since then, not because of lack of quality, but because of lack of competition with other anime. But that's what this time skip pretty much opens its eyes up to. The details that we have later on are literally going to be up to what Pokemon Horizons decides to do afterwards. So, with that being said, I think we pretty much covered everything we realistically could cover about Pokemon Horizons and this one poster. There's not really much that we can really discuss on it. And Rescue, you're going to have to watch the playback because the stream's basically almost over. Overall, I mean, it's a good idea. Even if this wasn't a time skip and just a design change for the characters, I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be against the idea that the characters decided to just wear newer clothes. That's fun. I like that. Here, they decided to opt to go a different route with it, with time passing. And while time skips have their own level of problems with it, with the characters literally going, and then nothing happened for this long, and now things have happened, I don't really like that idea, because while we're in the world of like just Pokemon, or even in general, when it comes to an anime, I don't like the idea that nothing happens. To me, time skips sometimes are a lazy way of the show going, we don't want to show progression. We want to just go ahead and skip to the parts where things have progressed. That's kind of the feeling I usually get when I see time skips, is because it's, oh, we don't really want to show the whole process. Can we just skip to the parts that you all came to see, the results? And I'm like, yeah, but I like the grind. Seeing a character change, like, periodically throughout the story so that we get a before and after pic of them through their trials and tribulations is always a warm welcome. Time skips, I guess, can have their own level of nuance to them too, but again, they're also just, let's skip to the part where things happen. How you feel about Dragon Ball then? I think with Dragon Ball, the only reason it works there is because Dragon Ball isn't on a constant plot basis. Dragon Ball more or less does their time skips because nothing of interest can happen except for the times of peace. Goku's not aiming for a thing at this point. For example, in Naruto's time skip, Naruto claims that he'll get Sasuke back. He'll train to get Sasuke back. The village is still like in shambles, and he's not Hokage yet, which is his overall goal. But the Akatsuki is still after him. That's the problem. So you mean to tell me for 2 years the Akatsuki just left Naruto alone? They were all on his ass, literally like during an arc where they had to retrieve Tsunade to become the new Hokage. So did all the Akatsuki at once just go, leave Naruto alone for 2 years? Why? Because... did they get any more Jinchuriki while this 2 years were happening? No. They just left every Jinchuriki alone. It raises way too many questions. It means the Akatsuki took a 2-year break too. Whereas in Dragon Ball, Piccolo loses and Goku and the others leave and a large amount of time passes. But in that time period, Piccolo's gotten a little bit of a change of heart because Goku spared him. So he's training in order to make a move that's strong enough to kill him. But that's like the only thing that happens. Other than that, Goku's living peacefully training with his wife, with his new wife. And everybody else is just sort of living life. There's no need for the continuation for things to happen. And like One Piece, Luffy tells everybody to wait 2 years before meeting up in Saobody. That means the time skip is necessary. It has to be because Luffy told a specific time and nobody wants to watch Luffy train for 2 damn years. Where in reality, Naruto's time skip is, well, I've decided to pick you up. Let's go. What? We're training right now for 2 years. Huh? And nothing's going to happen to the village in 2 years? No, probably not. Oh, well, what about everything in between? Who cares? What about the Akatsuki? They'll wait for us. They'll wait for us? What about all the Uchiha plot? Leave it alone. Everything in this world will pause for 2 years to wait for us. Like, you can see how jarring it looks, right? Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z isn't that big of a jump since they got older and only Piccolo learned a new move. Exactly, like the characters are more or less the same. It's not a crazy thing, and there's no continuing plot that makes you go, oh, well, what happened in between all that time? Like it's not that wild. That's why I really don't care for time skips unless I have a proper context of them. Even Attack on Titan's had a 4-year time skip for no reason. Exactly. Like I'm not sure what the need for that was, except, oh, we need older characters now. Why do we need older characters now? Like, it just, Dragon Ball's time skips usually take place in a time of peace. Gohan went from being a preteen that killed Cell to a high schooler because that's what he wanted anyway. He wanted to go to school. So he got to be a scholar. We got to see that he became a student. At least Beyblades make sense because the tournaments are annual. Yeah. But here we want to make a design for new characters and make them bigger so that we can just have older characters. And in Dragon Ball's case, when the time skip happened from Goku being tiny to being fully grown, nowadays they pass it off as Saiyans have a weird growth spurt. I don't like that. I kind of wish that was just a Goku thing. But when Toriyama made the new design for Goku, everybody more or less was on board. And I think that's only because Goku was realistically the only character that made a major change. Everybody else made changes too, but they were small, subtle changes. Goku's change was a big change, which I would imagine people who watch Dragon Ball were very shocked at this change, but more or less could work with it because naturally that's how Goku would look if he was older anyway. And he's the only one that went through that major change. Here, we have a bunch of characters that made changes. And again, thankfully, Pokemon Horizons did a time skip where the characters haven't changed dramatically. Liko's not rocking age 23 or some crap. She's not an adult. She's more or less just probably 14 or 15 now. Same as Roy, same as Dot. That's fine. They're teenagers. And I can see why Pokemon opted for that age. Because kids and teenagers are the main demographic when it comes to shonen-based anime. So it would make sense that they would still dabble between the two. And Pokemon, as well as most anime, are very familiar with making characters high schoolers at this point. So it makes sense that they would do it here. Making them from children works because they're related to children. And then making them older but not making them adults still works because, again, they're still within that line of being children. They're just older children now. It's a nice, happy middle ground. You can definitely tell that Horizons took a very careful step to make these time skips happen. But at the same time, they need proper context. The Pokemon are what I'm more or less upset about because they didn't really make much of a change. And no, not every Pokemon needs to evolve in order to show their change, but some type of visual show to make the Pokemon exclusively theirs. A couple of scars on Fuecoco to show that while it's been a Fuecoco this long, maybe it was training and it's been battling and perfecting its technique or something. Maybe Captain Pikachu's hat has aged a little bit, so it looks like an older hat with a couple of like changes to the hat. So it doesn't look like a fresh hat. Maybe Quaxwell knows a couple of new dance moves or has a different stance or carries like a little rose in its mouth or something. Something to really show this Pokemon's been through something. Because as of now, it looks like this Pokemon remains stagnant for a certain amount of time. Also, ZH protagonists will be around 16 like the X and Y ones. The games will be E10 like Pokken due to the intense happenings. Oh, the protags, yeah. Battlescar Kilowattrel would have been a cool version. Yeah. Ah, gotcha. But with that being said, I think we're done here. There's not really much we can really focus up on. Again, it's only a poster, and this is pretty much all we can talk about for now. So, thank you guys so much for checking this out. we'll have to watch the Horizons episodes to see where they take us. And speaking of which, that means you can watch my reviews on YouTube because I will be pressing more Pokemon reviews on my YouTube channel as well. So rest assured, those Horizon reviews will definitely be showing up a lot more on the channel. So make sure you guys take a look at that.